go. Conservators of all ages, please join me in welcoming the conservators for this, the greatest comic book conservation live show in the world. Hey.
All right. Wow, what an introduction.
Look at you guys.
Excellent introduction.
Yeah.
This is only the sexy people tonight, man. In case you are joining us for the first time, what's up, y'all? I'm Dr. Paul. It's Liberty Hill Comics. I am normally joined by my co-hosts Phantom Phil and Captain Larry, but tonight we have a special show. We got the Professor Peter Alachi and the Archivist Adrift, Jason Vonderow.
Hey,
welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Two guys whose work I admire and enjoy very much, innovating and putting out great content. And the professor is at Experiments in Conservation here on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Jason is at the Archivist Adrift. Links in the description for both of their channels. If you are somehow not watching them, man, you're missing out. Go subscribe. Go check out what they're doing. In fact, our B block is a professor special, a new technology that, as far as I can tell, Professor, you're the first person that is applying it to comic book conservation. Conservators have been using it for a little while, not quite a decade, publishing on it, peer-reviewed journals with great success. Very versatile new material. And I'm super excited to hear about it from you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we're going to start off, though, with the A block, where we're going to talk about the book that kicked off the Marvel Age.
Awesome.
And a conserved book that sold in the last 2 weeks. And we're going to talk about the market. And that's what the show will entail.
Awesome.
How you guys been?
Awesome.
Terrific. Yeah, doing good. We've been busy. We've been doing live shows and all kinds of things.
Busy. I've been extremely busy.
I've been on. Sorry, go ahead, Doctor.
No, go ahead, please.
No, I've been on spring break this week, so
nice.
I've been not busy.
Oh,
I got to catch up with doing some nanocellulose videos and things like that. Right, reading about it.
Yeah,
very exciting thing.
Yeah.
We missed a few milestones. So, firstly, 2 days ago was the first day of spring. And for my Wiccan friends, the equinox, the vernal equinox, and I want to say, I hope everybody enjoyed that. We also missed St. Patrick's Day, and I always drink a can of Guinness on St. Patrick's Day. So we're going to crack this and see if we can capture the magic.
Okay.
Everybody. Hopefully that worked out.
Yeah, that was a nice pop.
Cheers.
Good.
All right. I'm going to put this in a mug because the last time I drank it from the can, boy, there was some serious hate, guys.
Oh, no.
There was talk of sacrilege and
Ah.
stuff.
No, I always drink it out of the can. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Who cares? So I'm super excited about the show. Before we get into it, why don't you guys talk a little bit about what you're doing on your channel? And Jason, maybe you could go second and you could wrap up with the show that we did last night. So,
Sure.
Professor, why don't you update people what's been going on your channel?
Well, this week
or maybe what's coming up too.
What's coming up too, yeah. Well, this week on my channel has been about looking at nanocellulose as a product and how to use it in conservation. And like Dr. Paul said, it is really the first time we use it in comic books. Has not been used, as far as I know, as far as looking at the literature out there, nothing on comic books. Wow. Has been widely applied in conservation, however, by other conservators in the last, I would say, couple of decades. maybe the last 10 years, right? Especially the last 10 years.
Especially the last 10 years, yeah.
Especially the last 10 years. And as a product, it's a great product, right? And I think it does have application in conservation, in comic book conservation. And I'd be happy to explain it to you guys tonight, right? So this week has been about introducing nanocellulose and the role of the nanofilms in sealing, in doing tear seals.
Yeah.
And then on Tuesday of this week, I have a video that shows how to make those nanofilms, right? From nanocellulose, from the
Raw material.
Cellulose fibrils, raw material, right? Yeah. And then on Thursday, I have another video coming up on the use of nanocellulose in leaf casting, right? How much of it to add to your pulp recipe and how to make it and how to get the perfect amount at the end.
That's exciting.
So that's coming up on this Thursday, yeah. And then, and then we'll take it from there, see what else we can do with it, right? Not everybody has access to it, unfortunately. You know? And I'll show you a couple of sites you can get some nanocellulose. One of them actually is cheaper than I thought.
Oh, good. Okay.
And so I'll show you that. That's what.
Yeah, that was my big question: was how expensive will this be? Because the technology looks really amazing.
Yeah, availability is a problem. Definitely, people want tons of money for it.
Yeah.
And usually the amount you buy of it is in gallons, right? So when you buy it, it's like, what are you going to do with a gallon? As a consumer,
Right.
You need maybe 50, 100 grams at the most.
Yeah.
And then it goes bad after a while because unless you freeze it, right?
Okay.
And that's been the problem. So I managed to get a sample from a friend of a friend, right? And I have that sample, and that's I've been playing around with it, right? So that's what it is. Yeah.
Very cool.
By the way, the professor sent me some, and I want to say thank you very much. And sent me a reprint too, which, scientific reprints can be tough to get your hands on if you don't have the right credentials. So very much appreciated.
You're welcome.
Cheers. Hopefully this head is approved by the beer.
It looks like a nice head. Yeah, it looks good. Chocolatey.
Tastes great, even though it's not St. Patrick's Day. Awesome. And then Jason.
Yeah, I just put out a video, essentially mold remediation in a sense. I did a lot of experimentation. Finally came down to using papain and betaine to kind of knock out the weaken at least the spore roots. I think, and then going in with a Clorox bath, kind of a weak Clorox bath to kind of remove the staining. So it was very interesting. And so then last night we did we were on the live show with Rich and Mike of Rich of Big Nasty Comics and Mike of Chonkus Comics. And it was you, Dr. Paul, Phil, and Alan the Comic Collector Geek. And we discussed not so much, we did discuss quite a bit of conservation and restoration, but mostly the conversation was about turning hearts and minds around about conservation and restoration, about why these things, where there might have been an overreaction because of CGC's kind of revealing the fact that, a lot of people had restored books and wasn't aware of it. And that really kind of shocked people. And now how the kind of boat is slowly turning, where people are beginning to realize that, maybe there's something to these books that we need to take another look at them.
Yeah.
I think the point yesterday that you guys made on the show was well taken by everybody who has no idea about conservation. That you are elongating the life of the book.
Yes.
The book that has
that's one of the big things I've been
advice that it will go into dust over time, and that has emphasized that you're adding years and years to the life of the book.
Yeah, that's one of the big things I've been noticing a lot of times when I'm on these live shows is that people still. Well, first of all, a lot of people don't know that conservation even exists as a CGC label.
They don't understand it.
Yes.
Honestly, like what we had Matt Nelson on our last episode here 2 weeks ago. And frankly, even the questions we got from the conservation community, the folks who should know best, they still were asking questions that all the answers are either in Matt's book or in our book here.
Yeah.
And people are busy. They don't always have time to go through tomes, and there's a lot of misinformation out there.
Sure.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is just review, and yeah, it was very fun. I think one of the most interesting things was Alan, the Comic Collector Geek's take on the value of conserved comics and restored comics. And I had not looked at it in the way that he had in terms of the grades. I recognized immediately the importance of the grades for what he was talking about with respect to restored books. And for those that didn't catch that, what he basically said was, for restored grade books, for really high grade books, a restored book will actually only sell for about 10%. And that checks out for me. I do have some very high grade Golden Age keys that are restored. And that checks out. That's about what you pay for them. Sometimes even a little less, frankly.
Yeah.
But he said that in the low grades, they sell for almost no discount. He said 90 to 95%. And I said, well, the same. And he said, no, I didn't say that. I said 90, 95%. I mean, in terms of, the variability that we see in these books in the Golden Age, there's no discernible difference there, right? That said, I'm not. I agree with the general trend. I'm not sure that at that low end, I think the discount is that little. I think the discount still might be 20, 30% on that low end. But there's a lot of variability. And to his credit, he probably has a lot more data. If he's sorting the data in that regard, he may be just better informed than I am.
Well, I mean, as you mentioned, that there's most books that people run across are going to be restored, and so the numbers for conserved books and what their true value is going to be kind of distorted based on the fact that you're not seeing a whole lot of them pop up. So, and I think he doesn't watch, generally speaking, as far as I know, the show. This show, so he doesn't see what we're seeing.
Data that we're putting forward.
Yes.
I mean, like, for example, those that recall, not 2 weeks ago, but 4 weeks ago, the last time we did a What Are Conserved Comics Worth segment, our conserved books sold for 96% of what the Universal sold for. And his assertion was that conserved books always sell for 50%, no matter what the grade of Universal. And that's not that far off. I guess. I don't know that I haven't sorted the data that way.
I think there definitely needs to be more analysis on the subject, and
yeah. But in general, I think that we've shown that it's typically more than 50%.
And also
it's typically more like 50% tends to be the low end of what we see. And we see anywhere from 50% on up to 100% or close to it. Has been my experience. And we sort of like to cluster it, or we think that we've seen a lot of data clustered around 2/3. So that's, in my mind, if I were fair market valuing something, I would put it around 2/3. But also it depends on what work was done. We're going to look at a book today with some interesting work. But, we've seen some of those where just staples replaced. That's not a lot of work, right? So you might imagine that's pretty close to Universal. But I had a great time on the show. I think Alan would be an interesting guest on this show, perhaps in the future. So maybe we'll have him on.
Yeah, I especially liked your ranking of restoration. Cover trimming, and then the ink removal, and then the tape removal. All of that, right? Dr. Paul went through yesterday.
I like that too.
People's brains just sort information differently, and I'm not saying it's better. I'm just saying differently, right? Yeah. And I felt like I was talking way too much on that show, and so I wanted to give Phil and Jason opportunities to answer.
I feel like a little.
I found myself going like, I feel like they're just kind of rambling. We can rank this, right? Like, let's just throw it out there, right? And I'm happy to be corrected, but
no. As soon as you started the ranking, I'm like, no, that's a good way of ranking. I was not I was a little off guard, but also, you know,
I had the benefit of going last, so I got to
And
hear you guys
also, I've
ramble
been on
and
that show a
organize
lot.
my thoughts.
Right, I've been on that show a few times, so I wanted to give you guys the room to talk, and I didn't really feel like I needed to jump in.
I
a whole
appreciate
lot,
it.
so.
I think you piqued a lot of interest yesterday, Dr. Paul, and
Yes,
right,
absolutely.
Jason, a lot of interest.
I hope so. We're just trying to grow the community. And speaking of the community, let's thank this show's sponsors. So if you're watching this show live right now, you're watching it ad-free thanks to the following people. Collecting Chaos, You Pluck My Last Comic, Gorilla Monkey 3K, Sales Boy Comics, and Don Carter. Thank you so much to our generous sponsors. If it was up to me, you'd be watching ads. Really. It's these guys that have you ad-free on the live show. We appreciate you if you're watching it on demand, but you're watching ads there. And I want to say hi to Justin Hinsey, JS Kavorik, Brittle Page Man, welcome. Rick Gomez, Travis Moriarty, Mick Parr is my buddy Mike. Sales Boy's here. What's up, Dylan? You Pluck My Last Comic, speaking of, is here. Space Baby's here. Let's see. We don't need them to have a good time. I think he's talking about our regular host. It's true, but we do love them.
Yes.
Big Nasty's here. Welcome. Thank you so much for having us on the show.
Yeah.
Aforementioned Gorilla Production 73 is Gorilla Monkey 3K. That's his old handle, and he told me to continue using it, so I am. Thank you so much for the super chat, Sales Boy. I think we have super chat also from, wow, generosity already tonight. Don Carter, You Pluck My Last Comic, and Gorilla Monkey 3K. Thank you so much. The regulars are always pitching in. So much appreciated. Helps us offset the cost. Guys, I don't know what happened. StreamYard is over $400 a year now. So
Whoa.
those, I mean, I don't really make any money on the channel. I just put it back into the channel and into the community. So I do appreciate it, though. Everybody donating and offsetting those costs is very much appreciated. Let's see, who else is here? Oh, Metal Elf Collectibles, who we met last night, who I met last night anyway. Welcome to the show. He says, great stream last night. Appreciate you. Kilted Corgi's here. Someone who we see from time to time. Let's see, this looks like a new name. Fee 9690, welcome. Glad to have you here. Oh, he came in for Matt Nelson and stuck around.
Oh,
I
good.
assume he or she. Welcome, Fee. Glad to have you here. Glad you found it useful enough that you're sticking around. And John R. Bingham of Lucan is here. Welcome. Appreciate your continued support. With that, shall we jump into this A block? So here's our book. Anybody ever owned this? How about either of my co-hosts? Anybody in the chat?
No,
We have
but
some folks in the chat.
I definitely would love to. It's the greatest book of the Silver Age, in my opinion. It's so it's perfect. It's perfect.
Oh, wow. Did you come here to fight me?
I know that you like what is it, Doctor Strange first appearance or something like that. No, this is my pick.
Oh my gosh, look at this. Don Carter owned this book.
Wow.
When Don Carter was 8 years old.
Mm.
Don. Man, that's amazing. Billy Pilgrim, welcome. Glad to have you here. Ben Stewart, always welcome. I'm glad to have you here. I've never owned it. We're going to talk about the other major keys of the Marvel Age, this one being the first.
And the best.
Possibly the best. Possibly the most important. I do own, I guess I own about half of them, but it's the easier half to acquire on your checkbook. Will he survive? Welcome to the show. Anybody else in the chat ever own this book? So, of course, we're talking about FF1, created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby at Martin Goodman's request as a response to the success, the financial success of Justice League of America, launched in Brave and the Bold number 28. Martin Goodman, of course, the cousin of Stan Lee's beloved wife. This is where I usually make a little crack about Stan Lee being a Nepo baby. A lot of people, but I do give Stan a lot of credit. I personally think he's the architect of the Marvel Age, or the main architect. I know a lot of people want to say that Jack Kirby created everything and Stan was a hack that was just along for the ride. I don't subscribe to that belief at all.
Yeah.
I do think that they were true collaborations. I think that he would not have been able to pull it off with his collaborators. But I think Stan is the creative spark behind it. In fact, you know, I like to tell this story because I do think it's really interesting. He was fixing to quit comic books. He always thought it was for kids and not a serious writer, wasn't working in the comic book field.
Sure.
He was ready to quit. And the reason why we have the Marvel Age, the reason why we have Fantastic Four 1 and Amazing Fantasy 15 is because his wife told him, you know, instead of quitting, why don't you just do a few books the way you want to, the way you think they ought to be done?
Yeah.
And the worst thing that'll happen is there'll be a failure and or you'll get fired. And you were going to quit anyway.
Right.
So why not? Right.
Yeah.
And FF1 was his first foray into doing things his way. And that's another reason why I think it's clear that Stan Lee was the major architect of the Marvel Age, because Kirby had been around the whole time and he didn't go off in this direction on his own, right? It took this collaboration.
Yeah.
The book is, of course, first appearance of the FF and the Mole Man. We don't see Mole Man on the cover. We also don't see costumes for the FF on the cover.
That's one of the reasons why I like this book, because it is, you know, costumeless. It's a monster book, you know, and the composition is great. It's got that figure 8 kind of thing going on. It's beautiful.
And it's coming out of the Atomic Age where they were publishing mostly monster books, and or sci-fi books and or sci-fi horror type genre. Yeah. And we'll get into that in a little bit. In addition to having no costumes, the book is set in Central City, California. So he had not yet settled on the idea that all of these heroes were going to be based out of Manhattan. And I think it's cool to see the evolution during the Marvel Age of what would become the most beloved continuity, I think, ever in comics. I think that's not really up for debate.
Yeah.
So here are the books in chronologic order. November 61, Fantastic Four 1, a 10 center, and CGC census of 2100. Tales to Astonish 62. This is a crossover book. This is really kind of a sci-fi horror. That they later retconned as a superhero book when they saw that superhero books were taking off. So this is a personal favorite of mine. This is the one on this page that I do own. And I really treasure the copy that I own here. Another, the last of the 10 centers in terms of the big books. I think Fantastic Four is 10 centers through issue maybe like 11-ish, something like that. May of 62, you get the Incredible Hulk 1, CGC 1500. By the way, CGC census of Tales to Astonish 27, only 1,000. It's the rarest by a big margin of all these major Marvel Age Grail books. Amazing Fantasy 15, another 12 center, August of 62. CGC census 2600. I think the other one that you could argue is the best book of the Silver Age.
Well, Amazing Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course.
I think the you know, that origin, as short as it is, almost tells you everything you need to know about the character for all time. I think you could take a writer today and you could say, just read Amazing Fantasy 15, write a Spider-Man story. They could go off and write a successful Spider-Man story. I'm not sure that that's true of FF1.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, because the FF1 is a very simple, mutant in space kind of story. But Amazing Fantasy, I mean, he's got all this really interesting power set, and he's also, doing some inventive kind of, spider web kind of thing. He's a scientist, and it's a lot more,
Well, he's a high school kid. He's not a
Yeah, well, yeah, too. I mean, yeah, and really, it appeals to kids as well. So that's
Yeah.
got everything going for it.
It does. It does.
In a
And
science class, right?
Yeah. So I think it for me, it rivals FF1, but I can see the argument here. Couple viewers talking about Challengers of the Unknown.
Yeah.
Here.
That's a good point.
Obviously, Fantastic Four is a knockoff of Challenger of the Unknown, clearly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I appreciate the correction. I assume this is correct. The Immortal Biggie Mac says FF, the only 10 centers are 1 and 2. So maybe I'm saying when I say it goes through 12 or 13, maybe I'm thinking about the round price bullet where it goes, because after 2, probably it goes to 12, but it keeps that round price bullet like these 4 books have.
I see.
Until I think the cutoff was issue 13 or thereabouts, but somebody correct me. And again, I really do appreciate corrections. I never take them personally. They're always an opportunity to learn. So thank you, and welcome to the show, Immortal Biggie Mac.
Love that.
After Spider-Man, or actually the same month, but I think this had a 2-week later on sale date. But the month for the publication is listed as the same: August 62, 12 center, 1900 in the census, Journey into Mystery 83. Another great cover.
Yeah.
Tales of Suspense 39. Introduction of Iron Man.
Yeah.
March of 63, a little over 2,000 in the census. Another great cover. Strange Tales 110. First appearance of somebody, I don't know. Not on the cover.
Or
I actually think it's I used to say it's the first appearance of Spacepot Pete as a joke, but actually I think it's not his first appearance. I think he appeared over in FF before.
All right.
Pastepot Pete, of course, becomes the Trapster later. Not sure why. Pastepot Pete is a very fetching name.
Yeah.
July of 63, again, a little over 2,000 in the census. Then we jump all the way up to over 4,000 in the census. The Marvel Age is rolling on. In 1 month, we get Avengers 1 in September of 63 and X-Men 1 in September of 63. Of course, Avengers 1 has no first appearance. X-Men 1 does have a multitude of first appearances. First appearance of all the X-Men and the Professor and Magneto. But look at the CGC count jumping, and this is the same month as Avengers. So Avengers at 4,300, X-Men at 4,800, almost 49 actually. And then Daredevil is the last major book of the Marvel Age. You can point to the first Sergeant Fury, and there's a few other, a few other big books, obviously.
Yeah.
But this is the last major protagonist in the creation of the Marvel Age. And this is Daredevil 1 in April of 64, with a CGC census of over 5,500. So FF sits in there as the first, arguably the most important, certainly the first 110 or so issues of Fantastic Four, that amazing collaboration between Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, create the foundation of the Marvel Universe as we know it in the 616. So many major characters created in that arc that I don't know, maybe it'll never be surpassed. Who owns any of these books? What are your favorites? Let's see. Gorilla Monkey 3K. One day I'll get a DD1. What a cover has it all. Yeah.
That's cool cover.
I mean, I've been on record with this before. I think you know, the other collaborations are between Stan and Jack, with the exception of Amazing Fantasy 15 with Stan and Ditko.
Yeah.
Although it does have a cover of Jack Kirby cover.
Right.
This one is the only one that Stan collaborated with
Bill Everett, was it?
Bill Everett, the creator of the Submariner.
Yeah.
And
Also Amazing Man.
Bill Everett was actually his senior on someone that he looked up to creatively, a writer and artist from the Golden Age, a phenomenal one. This is he himself, Bill Everett, that is, was in his golden age when he created this book with Stan's, one of his last major works. To me, it is the best written, best laid out of all of these. And in fact, the art complements the story best. I think Everett, in terms of his pacing, was incredible. And this is another one of these where if I just gave you Daredevil 1, I think this is even more true than it is of Amazing Fantasy 15. If I gave you Daredevil 1 and I said, read this, now write a relevant story for 2026 about Daredevil, I think you could. Because it's all there. Foggy, Karen, Daredevil, Matt Murdock, the love triangle, everything is there. And it truly is a masterpiece. So it's one of the ones I own of this group.
Daredevil was Stan Lee's favorite character, correct?
Is that true? That might be true.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
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 I will say, you know, having read the first 100 issues of Daredevil, or even, you know, until Miller shows up, until Frank Miller shows up with issue 158, it's a lot of forgettable stuff. I'm going to be honest. It really is. It's not the masterpiece that the first 110 issues or so of FF are, or even that the first 100 issues of Avengers. The first 100 issues of Avengers are among these books, I think, my next favorite. And then maybe Journey into Mystery, maybe tied with Tales of Suspense. I don't know. Other people, throw your rankings out. Let us know which ones you own. Brittle Page Man says he owns Avengers 1. Congratulations. That's a huge book. That's awesome.
It's a cool looking book.
Let's see. Hurritan says, I own all those books minus the Ant-Man. My favorite is AF-15, then FF1. Well, can't argue with that ranking.
I'm okay with that. Yeah.
And again, that first Ant-Man, it's so tough because there's half what there are of FF1, and there's less than 20% of what there are of Daredevil 1 out there.
That's wow.
Mike says, had my Very Fine Plus Tales of Suspense 39 I bought for $50 in 1986.
Wow.
Had to sell it in 89, got $250. Well, you could that's probably better than the stock market did between 86 and 89. Especially because we had the big crash in 87. You did all right. Nuck and Futz says, we can thank DD for Avengers. From what I remember, they were late on DD1, so they rushed out a book called Avengers 1. I did not know that. That's cool. Yeah, you know what? I think there's an argument that the Hulk is the most unique and interesting of these books. Yeah, and of course, it didn't make it, right? It was canceled after 5 issues. But after the Marvel Age got rolling, Hulk was... What did he do? He took over Giant Man. Well, okay, so in Tales of Suspense, Ant-Man is the lead for quite a while. And then he becomes Giant Man. He's the lead. And then he's co-lead with the Hulk. And then eventually Giant Man gets pushed out for Submariner. And then that book, when Marvel expands, that book ends with issue 101, and then the following month it is the Incredible Hulk 102, and that's the sort of first issue of the Incredible Hulk Volume 2, if you will.
Yeah, the reboot.
Yeah. All right. Space Baby says, Strange Tales 110. Yeah. I wish he was on the cover, but I also can't argue with this. Ditko's arc on that is incredible. And I failed to mention, I said Ditko was his collaborator with Spider-Man, but of course he was also his collaborator with with Doctor Strange. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get into this specific book. As I mentioned, a little over 2,000 in Universal. Median grade here is a 3.5. Not a lot of conserved books. A fair number of restored, over 700 in the census.
Wow.
It's been a key for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So last Universal to sell was this book, and it's sold in the last year. It's a 4.0 with creamed off-white pages. This one sold on Heritage. Grader's notes indicate essentially the kind of wear and tear you would expect. So I think this is a very typical 4.0. There was a little bit of a buildup in the market for Fantastic Four prior to the movie. This book sold after the sort of letdown after the movie.
Okay.
And by nut down, I don't necessarily mean creative letdown. I just mean sort of economic, market letdown, I should say. This one sold for $12,000. The few books before this sold for a bit more. So Go Collect, which I subscribe to, they value this book at $12,500. That's the number I'm using. $12,500 is our target.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty straightforward. Sold on Heritage. Our book here, the conserved one, also sold on Heritage, less than a year apart. So we have a great comp here. Mm-hmm. Our book has slightly better pages, off white to white. The reason for that is the conservation includes cover cleaned and interior lightened. Our book does look whiter and cleaner.
Yeah.
Grader's notes include stapled detached bottom of front cover, piece out right top of front cover, multiple chip out back cover, stapled detached top of cover, spine split top of spine. Now, we talk about this a lot, but this was, I am sure, an accidentally conserved.
Yeah, they were hoping for a Universal.
The submitter here was hoping for Universal. Why?
Yeah.
Because if you had intentionally conserved this book, you would have gone in, you would have fixed the spine split, and you would have fixed the detached staple, and you probably would have had a 6.0 here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Somebody's talking about Stiltman.
Greatest villain. All right.
The very first Golden Age, Silver Age comic I ever owned, Daredevil 8 for Stiltman.
Nice.
Still own it.
That's great.
Yeah, we didn't have comic shops around when I was growing up. So,
grab whatever you could get, right?
Yeah, you got a book when you traded with somebody who had an older cousin or whatever you could do. So that said, here's a look at the book. You can see that detached top staple is popped there.
Yeah.
A couple chips out along the top edge in the top right corner, but otherwise presents pretty well. This little like staining on the left side there makes me wonder if this was a hopped book. Because when we see with the hop that you can get a lot of cleaning in the cover, but you don't get the same amount of cleaning in the spine. In fact, you can get migration of contaminants into the spine. Sometimes the spine will actually end up dirtier than when you started. So maybe a hopped book, maybe somebody that didn't even disassemble the book, just hopped it and sent it in. Again, I think an accidentally conserved book.
Yeah.
What do we think this
wants to know what a hop is?
Oh, yes. Heat Overlay Press. It was introduced by in Captain Mike's second book, the not CPR, the cleaning, stain removal and whitening. So SRW book. Collaboration between Captain Mike, Chris Trump, Jim Walgert, and forgive me, who I'm missing. But It is essentially where you take a slightly cooler press and you introduce a wet page of copy paper in between your cover and your first page, usually, of the book, and thereby do some cleaning while you do some pressing. And I've practiced quite a bit of it. You got to be careful, but I've never gotten anything but universal out of it. But I actually did damage one book.
Yeah.
And so it takes some practice and a delicate hand. I stopped doing it because I did not like the what I mentioned before, which is it's not the best way to get at you can see an artifact where basically you've whitened the cover except for the spine. And in fact, as I mentioned, sometimes the spine can even end up darker.
I actually weakened the spine of a book doing a hop. And
that's exactly the damage that I experienced. Yep. If you're not careful, you can split a spine.
With a hop, do you guys spray the paper with water or hydrogen peroxide and water?
You can do either.
Yeah.
I was doing, as a matter of fact, because I'm always experimenting. Their process recommends water and peroxide.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, the book actually recommends distilled water, which is a no-no. So I never did that. You can do it with just your calcium hydroxide. So you're just buffering and you're leaving an alkaline reserve. That was like my go-to. But I also would do it with a surfactant sometimes. So sometimes I would introduce either Triton X100 or Rick Morgan's product, AmacuClean. And you can put AmacuClean in very small amounts and you get a nice effect from that too. So yeah, you essentially can use whatever kind of aqueous solution you want, but you spray, the way I had it set up, I just had a towel off to the side. I would put a piece of copy paper, I would spray it. And basically when the water is absorbed into the paper, you can feel it. It's limped. It's somewhat translucent. And, it shouldn't be dripping, but it's wet.
Right.
And then you just put it in there, and then you buffer it properly. And I don't want to go much more into it because, like I said, I think even the practitioners of that don't do much of it anymore anyway. Now they're doing wet stack. Yeah. Which is basically it's a similar process, just less saturated, right? So
you're almost like steaming the book as you are pressing it, so you're getting a better press at the end, right?
Yeah.
Well, I did
try it. It does work well.
Yeah, you're introducing enough liquid that you're actually driving contaminants out of the page. You're actually doing a bit of an aqueous, like an in situ aqueous bath, right? Again, the problem is that water finds the path of least resistance and it's pulled by, it's wicked into the spine, unfortunately, just too much of it. And it can carry contaminants with it. So that's the biggest issue. Otherwise, like I said, and I think for lightly soiled books, and even the authors, again, to their credit, they preached a light hand. They preached caution. They preached, a very conservative approach with that method. So I don't want to misrepresent it at all. Yeah. I think I did a video on my recommended modifications from the hop. If you do want to do hop, for sure, we put that in the book. So our book available on Amazon that I wrote with Dr. Shelby Thompson, Comic Book Conservation. We have a whole section on the modifications we recommend if you do hop from the method that was published in the stain removal and whitening book. I don't see any guesses though. Do we have guesses? What do we think this sold for? So our target for Universal was $12.5. Again, this sold in the last 2 weeks on Heritage. And Jason.
Oh, me first. I was going to hope that the professor would go first. I would. I'm going to go 7,500.
7,500. All
Yeah.
right. Somebody's on the board. Space Babies at 96.75. Chaco, do you mean my book? So kind of you.
That's awesome.
Enjoy it. Let me know what you think.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you think it's good. No, I'm kidding. Let me know what you think regardless. Knucking Futz 11K. You Pluck My Last Comic 4,500. Gorilla Productions, Gorilla Monkey 3K 8,500. Sales Boy 7K. Commandant VHS 7K. GS Kavorik 11,250. Rick Gomez 8,250. Professor.
I'm gonna say 8,000.
$8,000. Metal Elf 7,800. Ben Stewart 9,800. I think joining us from Captain Larry's channel, if I'm not mistaken. Unless one of you guys linked. Did one of y'all link? We're simulcasting on Flying L Comics.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And on my channel.
Oh, okay. So I think he's joining.
Yeah.
Ben Stewart's maybe joining from your channel. Yeah. All right. Any other guesses? I'm going to do the drum roll and let you get your last guesses in. And then I'm going to reveal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, baby.
Wow. That's great.
There it is, Alan. Suck it. Just kidding, obviously.
That's great.
11,590. This sold less than a month ago on Heritage, and it was 93% of the Go Collect value of 12.5. It's actually an even higher percentage of the actual last sale. But I try not to second guess the Go Collect algorithm unless there's like a really good reason for me to do so.
Yeah.
So I use it. So this book
would you
sold
say
for practically what a Universal sold for.
So would you say whoever bought it is gonna crack it and fix the staples or send it over to a person like Phil maybe to work on it?
I mean, that's what I would
make it a
do.
CGC 6, right? Yeah.
I think it's got potential at least to be a conserved 5. I think a 5.5 is very reasonable. A 6 may be a stretch with those small pieces missing along the top edge. I threw 6 out earlier as like a stretch goal. But I think like this book is, to me, a very easy 5.0 conserved just by correcting the spine split and the pop staple. And I think, like I said, I think 5.5 is pretty reasonable personally.
Yeah.
If you do the work correctly. And it's not hard work, right? Like we're mending paper all the time. I mean, this is easy, especially because I don't think, the cover's already cleaned. I don't think you need to worry about, you don't really need to worry about tide lines here, right?
That's true.
The biggest question I would have is, what do we think about that stain that's still there on the spine? Would you do a little bit of work to get that out? And I imagine you would.
Yeah.
I'm guessing this would benefit from some kind of a light additional clean just to clean that spine area. It could be very light, like my technique where you just put it on the tabletop and you just spray it and squeegee it, right?
Yeah.
No full bath or anything. I think in that regard, it's got potential for a bump. I don't know though, because it's sold for basically full Universal value. So I don't know that getting it up to a conserved 5.5 really creates a lot of equity, frankly, because I would think if it's not going to sell for this high a percentage every time, I would not think. But yeah, it's an interesting book. I thought it was interesting to talk about.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. So
that's good to know. Yeah.
Knucking Fut says GSK is the winner. Congratulations. We appreciate everybody that played. And yeah, I think that
Wonderful.
was Solo Reaper got a guess in at 8K. Probably
We've
just
got Cliff on Comics here as well. So, hey, Cliff.
hey, welcome, Cliff.
Uh,
Oh yeah, there you are. Glad to see you. Thanks for joining, and I hope everybody enjoyed that.
yeah.
We did a little walk through the Marvel Age. And this is the point in the show. This is the break between the A and B block where we usually say, please give us a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, do so. We really appreciate you leaving a comment. We love you being in the chat, but we appreciate you leaving in the comment in the actual comment section. That is what the algorithm uses to decide how many people they want to show the video to. And, you know, we want to continue to grow the community. So we really appreciate everybody's help in doing that. And with that, let's jump into this segment prepared by the professor on nanosellulose.
Nanocellulose, little cellulose, right? Applications in comic book conservation.
It's not femtocellulose. Picocellulose. Oh, that picocellulose sounds good.
Pico could be, yeah. Pico is really tiny, yeah. But you know, it's another tool in your toolbox. In other words, some people may never use it, and some people might like it, right? So it depends. So let me go over nanocellulose with you guys. Next slide, Dr. Paul.
Can you eat it is the first relevant question.
Well, it's not going to kill you if you eat it. Honestly, you know, it's just cellulose, right?
In the same way that you can eat cotton balls if you want.
Yeah, that's it. You're not
I don't necessarily recommend it, but you know.
Yeah, no, you're gonna pass it eventually, and it's not poisonous, right?
Yeah.
There is a form of it that is a powder form, and that if you inhale it, that's bad, right? So you wear a mask with that.
But
This form that you buy, the CNF that you buy, is usually comes in as a gel, so that's not really dangerous to handle, right? Yeah, it's pure cellulose. It is, right? It is cellulose fibers. That's all it is. All right, let me maximize the screen here so I can see what I'm reading. Okay. So that's a beautiful Sitka spruce tree, and in the Hoh Rainforest in Olympic National Park. And the nanocellulose comes from plant sources. So it comes from beech trees, from spruce trees. It comes also from non-wood type plants, cotton, eucalyptus, algae even. And there is a form of cellulose, nanocellulose, from bacteria, from a genus called Acetobacter. And many of these Acetobacter species produce a type of cellulose known as bacterial nanocellulose now. Bacterial nanocellulose, by the way, is highly pure also. It's also biodegradable like the other celluloses, nanocelluloses. It is primarily used in tissue engineering and in drug delivery systems, in scaffolding, things like that, right? So it doesn't have a role in conservation. So
it's produced in bioreactors, not dissimilar.
Produce it, yeah.
Not dissimilar to the bioreactor it's used to produce this product right here.
I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, nanocelluloses in general, like we're going to see, the nanocellulose that we use is prepared in large homogenizers, right? The same ones you use for milk and things like that, and you drill the large cellulose, eventually fibers, into smaller ones, and that ends up with these little tiny microfibrils, and they treat it to remove the lignin, so you end up with just the cellulose at the end. So that's what it is. Yeah, that's the slide. Yeah, but if you go back to the prior slide, let me just mention the three types of celluloses.
Sure.
We have the nanocelluloses that are CNCs, cellulose nanocrystals, and MFCs, microfibrillated cellulose, and then, or it's also known as cellulose nanofibrils, and BNC, bacterial nanocellulose. So MFC or CNF is the type you want to get for conservation.
Okay. Right.
So there are different types of CNFs. As you will go and do the shopping, you'll have to call the company and ask them, which one should I get for conservation? And they will let you know, right?
And the reason here is that the fibrils are longer, so they're more suitable
Yeah.
for the strength that we need for our processes.
Yeah. So cellulose nanoparticles used in paper conservation are called microfibrillated cellulose, MFCs, but also known as nanofibrils, nanofibers, nanocellulose, and cellulose nanofibers, and cellulose nanofibrils. So they go by different names, right?
Right.
So these cellulose fibers are long and thin. They average about 1 millimeters in length. So if you look at the picture there, it shows you the cellulose fibers, and about 20 to 40 microns in width. So rather very thin, right? And so to understand nanocellulose well,
this is an aspect ratio of something like 20 to 50 to 1.
It's like
very long and thin, right?
Very long and thin, exactly. So if you look at the cellulose fiber, it's a millimeter long and 20 to 40 microns wide. And so when you break it down through the homogenizing process, you find the microfibrils. That's the stuff on the inside. And these are the elementary fibrils that contain cellulose molecules. They're very tiny. They're 1,000 times smaller than paper fiber. That's how tiny they are. And they're on the nanoscale you're talking about 10 to the minus 9 meters, right? So incredibly small things here. Very long and very thin, right? So you can see a picture of them. This is courtesy of a researcher who actually began using them in his research. His name is Rémy Dreyfus-Désigné. I think he's French, or he could be also Canadian French from Quebec. And this is from a paper he published in 2017, the one I sent to Dr. Paul, actually. And he did use these nanofilms in art conservation, right? So that's basically the nanocellulose background, right? It's low risk, it's non-toxic. The dry form does exist. You can buy it, but you need a mask with it. And I think the powder form is going to be more popular than the gel form, because the gel form is susceptible to fungi, and storage becomes a pain in the ass when they send you a lot of it, right? Sometimes, right? Yeah. Like if you look at this company, it's not a company actually. It's the Cellulose Lab over at University of Maine. They sell them only in 5-gallon batches. What the hell are you going to do with 5 gallons? You know,
they're really just offering it as a service to other researchers, right? It's not really a business. I'm sure they're not making money on it, even at the price they're selling it, right? Because they're not set up to be in production commercially. So you get what you can take.
So $250 for 5 gallons, I think, is a good deal, because you look at other companies and they're selling like 50 grams for like $200, right?
Yeah.
So it's a no-brainer if you want to get it and throw the rest away, you know, or you can freeze this stuff, right? Like you can add a little bit of glycerol to it and freeze it, and it will keep, right? And I did an experiment actually.
You want to offer like a half pint for $50 to anybody that wants some, Professor?
Yeah, if I can get my hands on some, sure. If anybody would like send me comic books, Fantastic Four number 1 would be.
There you go.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I mean, we'll see. You know, I don't have enough right now. I just have I have it here on my desk somewhere. My desk is so busy. Here it is.
I do want to say, right? regarding the powder here, you've mentioned wear a mask if you're using the dry powder form. I do want to I want to reiterate this and also kind of emphasize it for people. We sometimes cavalierly use chemicals in conservation. You've seen me use some chemicals. You've seen Jerry the Jitterbug use some chemicals that have warnings on them that we're disregarding. This right here is not a warning you should disregard. Particles this small can and do enter your lungs and never leave, and can cause very serious problems. So I would go so far as to say, even I'm not just using a regular mask here. I'm using a full, like an N95 or something like that if I'm using this material dry.
Yeah, totally agree with you, Dr. Paul. That makes perfect sense. Yes. Next slide, please.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Here we
first,
go, Archie. This is why Jason's on the show.
Yeah.
so once I got my sample of the nanocellulose, the CNF, I was in the lab at the time, and I took it to my lab. I had a 2-hour break, and I had Archie comics in there, and one of them had a rip right in the middle of the spine. So I still have it here somewhere.
Great experiment books for sure.
Great experiment book, this one here. So I have that app. What I did is I said, let me try the nanofibrils if I can dilute them down and then use them to seal this, to repair this tear here.
Mm-hmm.
And you were diluting the gel.
The experiment is very simple. Yeah, right. I sprayed it with the water basically, and I diluted sample, and I filled this area with a micropipette, about maybe a couple of rounds of. I have the video on YouTube, right? So you can watch that first video. I did most of it in the lab, so you can see my lab in there and everything.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then I showed that I took the wrap with me after home, and I put it in the press. And this thing is solid as you wouldn't believe.
Wow.
You can't even rip it again, right?
So this
even
is,
if you try.
This is literally just the fluid. It's a
the
suspension,
fluid.
of course.
Yeah.
But it's literally just the dilute suspension. It's essentially like water in terms of by volume.
Yeah.
It's 0.2%. So I mean, that means it's 99.8% water.
Yeah,
and then
it's actually the sample
tiny
itself.
amount.
Yeah, the sample itself is 3%. So you take like 7 grams of it, you put it into 100 mils of water. That gives you the 0.2% eventually, right?
Right.
You get the 0.2% per mil. So you're adding several, maybe milliliters, maybe 3 or 4 milliliters. And then you build that layer, and you do it on the backside also, and they meet each other and they seal the tail, right? And you can't even see it, and you can't even see the nanocellulose at all.
No. This is part of why I'm bringing this up. I mean, it's essentially what you've done is put water on it. I mean, with a 0.2% nanofiber content, you're adding almost no material in terms of mass. This is an amount of mass that is not measurable, right? It's such a tiny amount. But because those fibrils are so strong, because they're drawn into the paper matrix,
and because
they grab on the other fibers, they grab on each other, and next
because it's water soluble, it's reversible, it's conservation.
They lock all this together. Yeah.
So now, texturally, does it feel the same as the surrounding paper, or does it?
Yeah, it just feels perfectly like paper. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, texturally, totally. Yeah.
And you didn't use any kind of leaf or any kind of tengujo or nothing. It's just the gel itself.
Nothing at all. Yeah. Just you can see, actually, if you zoom in, you can see some of the fiber from the nanocellulose on Mary, on his Mary Andrews, right? I'm not sure if you can see. You see on her collar, there's some fiber.
Yeah. I think we can see it better actually.
In the image.
Here, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you see it in the image. Yeah, right. Yeah. So it does cause, Jason and Dr. Paul, it does cause a bit of a slight planar shrinkage. So it pulls on the paper a little bit when it dries, and as long as you keep it flat, you do your best, and it's not too bad at all.
But to be fair, so does tengujo, right?
So does tengujo.
So does leaf casting. Right. These are risks that we need to manage regardless of how we're mending tears.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So according to a researcher who worked on it, she says it shrinks by about 11% after you add it. Right?
Okay.
So 11% to me sounds substantial, but I don't see it as a major deal, right? Like when when you see me use nanofilms, they really shrink by 11%, but you don't see it. You can't see it. You can't detect it, right, with your naked eyes. Okay, so we can go to the next slide, please.
Sure.
So these are the nanofilms I made and I cut up into pieces. And the nanocellulose we're using here is highly pure cellulose, lignin-free, which is very important, has a neutral pH of 7.0, stable and resistant to light, temperature, and humidity aging, flexible, and has high mechanical strength to it, right? So this is a sheet that I made, right, through evaporation, casting evaporation, and we can see how difficult it is to tear.
Yeah.
Right, and it's very thin. It's like 9 microns thin,
Unreal.
and it's transparent, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Unreal.
fantastic stuff, right? A disadvantage here is the cost. And if you go to celluloselab.com, it's cheaper there. You can get like for $40-$50 you can spend, and you can get what you need pretty much at the cellulose lab.
It's pre-made.
It's I think they have a whole list under C and F. You have to look at them all and see what you want to get. Some of them are more expensive than others. Some of them start at like $1 per gram, and some are like $8 per gram or something. So it depends on what you want to get. So I would give them a call and tell them you're a conservator. You're trying to do mainly, say, tear seal. What do you recommend? And they will let you know. Right. I need to call them up too. I'm actually in touch right now with one of the researchers who worked on nanocellulose, but she hasn't replied yet to my email. So I'm just waiting. I sent her the email on Friday, so probably late in the day. She probably doesn't respond on the weekends.
This is similar to like thermoplast or other materials, but just superior in almost every way. I mean, it's stronger, it's more transparent, and it's reversible in a much easier way. It's really phenomenal development.
It is.
And I really appreciate you bringing this to our community, Professor.
Oh, absolutely, Dr. Paul. Yeah. Glad to do it. For the planar distortion, a researcher, her name is Robin Cannon, found that if you use ethyl alcohol along with the Clusel G.
Professor, you're just a little bit too far from the mic. Could you just? Yeah, you're just a little. Yeah, you're just a little too casual, a little too chilled out. I know it's spring break. I know it's spring break, but come on, sit up straight. No, just kidding.
All right, so researchers Remy Dreyfus and Robin Cannon, both of them, suggested that if you use ethyl alcohol alongside with Clusel G, which is hydroxypropyl cellulose, that can prevent that planar distortion.
Okay.
I'm trying to get my hands on the paper. I haven't been to the library all this week, so I've been home. And as soon as I go to work tomorrow, I'm going to head to the library first thing and get a few of those papers that they wrote, right? Just so I can read them.
This is so exciting.
And I'll share them with you, Dr. Paul and Jason.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So just so I understand this correctly, nanocellulose, like liquid form, that it has its own, use cases, and then we got the nanocellulose film. And what would be the use case for the film specifically?
Well, we're getting to that.
Okay,
sorry. But this is the next, Jason, right? It comes like this.
Yeah,
it's like pudding almost. And you end up making it into these.
You can make the films. Right? Yeah, that's what we're going to actually show next. So
yeah, they call them nano papers or nano films, right? That's what.
Okay, got it.
But don't call them tape, because they look like tape when you cut them up, but they're not.
Yeah.
I made that mistake to call them tape on my show. I was kidding, of course.
Yeah.
And Don Carter, God bless his heart, jokingly said, "Just don't call them tape." I said, "I agree with you. I shouldn't call them this." So I'm not calling them tape.
Yeah.
Tape has a different connotation, right?
Yeah.
So uses in paper conservation of nanocellulose still at its infancy, and there are challenges we have to, as a group, right? Me and Jason and Don and Dr. Paul, everybody really needs to get involved in this, right? But mainly mending comic book related paper, used in artwork and documents. The films are prepared based on a specific formula. There is actually an online calculator you can use to calculate specifically how much of this to add to water and how much of it to pour into Petri dishes to get that film through
Mm.
evaporation casting, right?
Okay.
Right. And that's to basically calculate so that you have the film at the proper thickness,
Mhm.
Thickness,
is
right,
just about 10 microns or thereabout.
Okay.
right. Nanocellulose can be also used to strengthen brittle paper, and
Mm.
that research I'm going to work on, so I haven't really began doing it yet.
Wow.
And very
Could-
little CNF added to your processed pulp fiber can yield stronger fiber mix at the end.
Yeah.
So I've actually played around with it a little bit so far, and I have some pretty good encouraging results with it.
So are we saying actually perhaps adding it to a bath, maybe?
Absolutely.
No, not to a bath, but you
Oh,
add it.
Okay.
You add it to your furnish recipe, right?
Well,
When
to
you
your
make-
furnish, but if you're doing full aqueous, then in the bath, Professor. If you're doing a submersion leaf casting, then you would.
Okay.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
In that case, to the bath, yes.
Yeah.
Submersion leaf casting will be.
But essentially, to your furnish, whether you're doing it spot casting or whether
Right.
you're doing full
Right.
submersion, right? You're adding
Right.
it to the furnish, and again, in a very, very, very low concentration, it has
Mhm.
it has quite an impact in
That's-
terms of strength.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
welcome
So because it is-
ASS, Brooklyn, to the show. Thanks for joining.
Hey. Hey, John.
Okay. And because it is cellulose, refrigeration is recommended. Otherwise, or even with refrigeration, just add some calcium propionate to it, right?
Mm.
And that inhibit fungi and bacteria from growing in the
Mhm.
medium. And it can be frozen. Actually, this batch was frozen, and I re-diluted it. I took it out and remixed it, because you can see after you freeze it, so the top picture there is frozen. The bottom picture is this,
Mm.
but you can see that there is water oozes out of the fibers.
Oh, okay.
So that changes the weight of
Yeah,
the substance.
in a similar
right? So
way
mix it
to
really well.
your furnish
Yeah.
for your pulp, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's pretty stable under any temperature.
Space Baby, GS Kavorik, we're getting to it. Hang tight. Go ahead. Continue, Professor.
All right. So freeze thawing clearly will release that water, the entrapped water, and you can mix it again, and you end up with the same substance at the end. So if you buy a lot of it, you can always freeze it, right?
Mm.
Mhm.
I'm not sure for how long it lasts in the freezer, but this was
Right.
just an overnight experiment, right? I didn't really freeze more than just one day.
Mhm.
All right, the next slide, Dr. Paul. So making cellulose, nanocellulose films is based on a recipe. And this recipe is, this particular slide that you're reading there is actually from an online calculator that tells you what you have to do based on the percentage of cellulose fiber you have bought, because these come in either 2% or 3%,
Mhm.
right? Weight to volume.
Mhm.
And depending how many of these Petri dishes you have to pour, right?
Mhm.
And how much to pour, they give you all of that information. All you
Yeah.
have to do is enter the information into the calculator.
Which
And you
saves
can
some
make-
time, but you can calculate this. I mean, it's basically just
Yeah.
surface area. You need to know the surface area you're going to lay it on, and
Yeah.
then from there, and of course the concentration of your solution, and from there you can make it in any shape you want or in any vessel you want.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or you can take these numbers and just divide them by the number of dishes. So 6.67 can be divided by 5. You make one dish in this case, right?
Mhm.
So you could do it that way too. So I have the solution. I made it, and it looks just like a turbid solution. Nothing really special,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
But just little cellulose fibrils in here. That's
Mhm.
all it is. And this you end up pouring into a Petri plate, and you end up with liquid like this in a Petri plate, right?
Mhm. I think
you see this?
yes.
It's liquidy.
Mhm.
And then you let it sit at room temperature for 3 or 4 days. It evaporates, and it gives you a film at the bottom that you can peel off the plate. It looks like this.
Yeah. And
And
people
that's
have
been cut up.
people have done this with methyl cellulose, and you can do this with methyl cellulose as well and create a thin film, but it doesn't have the same material properties.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, how?
But
What
it does have
concentration?
uses in conservation still.
Okay.
And I think you have
I
some
haven't
more
done it.
images of that, right, Professor?
Yes.
I don't.
So if
if
you
I
go
recall
to the next
correctly.
slide.
There we go.
So this is how you do it, making CNF film. You put in your numbers that you want, and it gives you the formula. You make the solution, you pipette it into the Petri plates, right?
Mhm.
And then you wait for it to dry, and then you peel it off the plate. So you can use like tweezer like this, right? And you peel it off.
Mhm.
And you have to take like a razor and go around the edges of the plate to cut
Right.
off those areas before you
Yeah.
can peel it, right?
Mhm.
If you have Teflon dishes, those are better
Mm.
than polystyrene. is what I'm
It
using.
occurs to me that a good way to do this would actually be just and you may have to mess with the concentration, but just a flat piece of glass where you would make a puddle and you would just let the puddle sit there just with surface tension,
Mhm.
and then let the water flash off, and then you could just take a razor blade and scrape that off. And I've seen
Clean it
people
off.
do, and I've done methyl cellulose films that way. You may have to mess with the concentration here because I think your Petri dish is a little bit deeper in terms of the fluid depth. It's a little bit deeper maybe than surface tension would hold. So you might have to go just a little. You might have to go a little more concentrated to do something like that.
Hmm.
Well, this is getting almost 25 mils, so eventually it'll fill up, right?
Right.
And it'll look like the one on the left here and B on the left.
Yeah.
So the glass part, actually, I heard, and if my memory serves me well, that glass is not a good medium for that.
Ah.
Yeah, Teflon is a good medium, but not glass.
Hmm.
Okay.
And polystyrene sticks a little bit, but eventually it comes off.
Okay.
And the only reason I use polystyrene is because I had a few plates in the lab that I wanted to get rid of in the trash. I just took them and used them
Sure.
instead
Yeah.
because they weren't sterile anymore, so I couldn't use them for agar media, right?
Mhm.
Anyway, so once you have that set up and done, wait for it to dry, and then you can peel it off, right? So next slide, Dr. Paul. And this is the nanocellulose calculator.
Hmm.
I forgot to put the address on this, but it's tinyurl.com / nanocalc.
Hmm.
So it's easy to remember that address, right?
Maybe you can put it in the
And-
description, Dr. Paul, later on.
Yeah, I think actually
Yeah.
go to the professor's channel. It's in the
Okay.
description of his most recent video.
Oh,
I think.
perfect. Perfect.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if I put it in my video. Maybe I did, yeah. And then if you see in the gray block here, this is a quote from that paper I sent to Dr. Paul
Mhm.
that says, this is from 2017, it tells you how to make these nanofilms, right?
Mhm.
Anyway, so this is basically the screenshots from that application. And if you keep going to the next slide, Dr. Paul.
Yeah.
You end up making it. And here on the right-hand side, you see a reference to his paper, which I got and I sent to Dr. Paul. And then the supplier is Cellulose Lab. And then they have the email and they have the web address. So if you go to the web address, you see they sell CNC, CNF, and BNC, right? So they sell all of them. And but under CNF, you see multiple different types, and it's difficult to know what you want to buy, right?
Hmm.
Some of them are more expensive than others, so I would give them a call and find out, right?
Hmm.
And this was developed by Robin Canham, and she's a conservator. She has her own conservation lab right now, and she's based in Canada.
Oh.
And she got her master's degree from Queen's University in Canada, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, she's pretty good. Yeah,
A lot of the
Okay,
best conservators are females.
Mhm.
yeah.
The field is dominated by females, actually.
Right.
So
This is
here's some more
examples of what
comic examples.
comic examples of what I did with it, right? So this is first one is so I showed you already this, the Archie. I'm gonna throw it out. The next one,
Yeah.
next one is Little Lulu. When I
Yeah.
took Little Lulu and I brushed the staple crimp area, these were busted, so I just like refolded them and rearranged them, and then brushed them with methyl cellulose and nori. Right? You can use wheat paste, you can use nori, and I used 2.5, or I forget now, 1.5% or 2.5%. I think I used 1.5% in this experiment. This is a mistake here. And then I brushed this area, and then I placed the films after I cut them up on top of the staple area. And on the right-hand side, you see how it looks like after you press it and dry it. Like,
it's literally invisible. And it's invisible because all you've added is I'm going to say a microscopic amount. It's literally a submicroscopic amount of nanocellulose.
Right. At a different angle, if you hold the paper, sometimes you might see the traces of the film. But
you also used a square edge film, right? One could imagine breaking that edge up, feathering it a bit, and probably not even being able to detect the edge.
It is very possible, yeah. And you wonder what CGC would say about this, Dr. Paul. I mean, it's the conservation to me. So, yeah.
I'm being frank. I'm not sure that they would even detect it.
Possible, especially if you're doing on the back page, and then everything is, you can't see it.
Yeah.
All right, next slide, Dr. Paul. And this is, there are 3 tears there. 2 are visible, and then there's a tear between them. And I put an arrow there to it so you can see it. And then those 2 tears on the right-hand side, I did with Tengujo. And the one on the left, I did with the nanocellulose, with the nanofilms. So
proper controlled experiment.
Controlled experiment.
Yeah.
So if you can see, and you can see the nanocellulose film is virtually, again, invisible.
Yep, we can see it hanging off just a little bit right above marge, or margins, I should say. We can see just a little bit of it overhanging.
Yeah.
If my eyes aren't fooling me, the paper looks just a tiny bit darker there.
It's a bit darker.
And then, of course, the 2 rips that are repaired with Tengujo, and I'm assuming probably the nori paste with methyl cellulose again.
Yes, nori paste and methyl cellulose on both. Yes. And I don't know why this is. I think this was darker to begin with from the paper.
Was
itself.
Was this page washed prior?
Yeah, no, I just sprayed it with the water.
Right.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I mean, the rest of it is like half a page, right? So yeah. So I did just the top. I caused those tears in it, and you can see that close up. You don't see the film again. It's very difficult to see, right? All right, so that's the difference. Although both are stable, right?
I'm sure. Justin Hinsey wants to know if you tried to look at it with a black light.
No, I haven't.
There we go. Next experiment.
Next experiment, black light would be cool. Yeah. This is an issue of some Detective Comics I'm working on. I forget the issue number now, but
a proper comic book, Jason.
That's right.
That's a problem. But the backside here got nanofilms, right? And it got nanofilms on the whole spine. I wanted to do the whole spine, but I ran out of film, so I only had like 1. And this was still drying, so I left it alone. But I did like a couple of areas, right? Just to demonstrate, right?
Sure.
And you can actually support it with the nanofilms and do maybe leaf casting on the other side, or do the leaf casting on one side and then nanofilms on the other side. But these would be virtually unseen on the next slide, Dr. Paul, after you dry it.
Yeah.
Boom, like that. Like, where are they?
Wow.
Yeah. Now, I have to say, I took a picture of it also, but I ran out of time. See if I can show you the picture. If it shows on.
So in terms of detection, black light would be good to look.
Yeah.
Also,
Actually, you can see.
potentially a light box to see if there's any difference in translucency
Oh,
in
yeah.
that area.
If you look at it this way, can you see the tape a little bit? Like here.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you look at it off angle, you see a difference in the
Off
sheen.
angle and under certain light, you can definitely see the tape.
Yeah. But what you're seeing there is just a difference in reflectivity, I believe.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. If you look at it straight down, like the picture,
Which means
you
that
don't
if
see
you,
anything. And then
which
at an
means if
angle,
you
see it.
burnished it properly,
Yeah.
probably not going to see it again.
Yeah.
So
it's difficult to see.
Yeah.
So in your first example, you were diluting the nanocellular stuff, and then using a pipette to like apply
Like
directly
furnish.
to it. So why would and that was in a furnish. Okay. I didn't realize.
No, that wasn't a furnish.
Oh, it wasn't.
It's
Okay,
like
so
a furnish, right?
why would
Like
you
using-
prefer a film, or why would you want to do a film over applying it directly from the pipette?
So I suppose in this case, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
You can use a film or you could use a pipette
Mm-hmm.
to do it in.
Mm-hmm.
It's a preference thing, right?
Okay.
But I think, Dr. Bull, you have any?
If you're just using the fluid, you think of it kind of like a glue.
Mm-hmm.
You're not adding material. You're not adding enough material that you're going to visibly look like you added anything. So, like, for example, if you have a nice lap tear where there isn't going to be any light coming through, it isn't going to look like any kind of missing material, that might be a great place to use the suspension, right?
Okay.
Here, where you have material missing,
Mm-hmm.
I think the film is probably going to be a better choice to bridge those voids.
But would CGC consider that piece fill then? Because I would with.
Well, they may. Yeah. I mean, I think that firstly, this is, who knows how they're going to view this. This is, I don't think this is.
They're probably going to take a tape first.
They're going to.
Yeah, it looks like a tape carrier. Yeah.
They're probably going to be asking us, what do we think? How do we think it ought to be? Can we provide evidence for how it ought to be judged? So where you have voids here, as the professor mentioned, maybe the best, this is just initial experiments by him, right?
Yeah.
Probably
very early.
the long-term approach to this is probably going to be a combination of the nano cellulose with either added to your furnish for leaf casting, or used in a combination of the film plus leaf casting, something along those lines. Okay. Similar to how those of you that have watched Jerry the Jitterbug for a long time know that he had historically used Tengujo underneath leaf casting, or as kind of as an adjunct to leaf casting, right?
Yeah.
So
okay.
Yeah, you can sometimes have leaf casting if it lifts a little bit. There's no shame in adding Tengujo to it, right? And just leave it in place.
I mean, I'm excited about this technology altogether. I just want to figure out like what best use case scenario for each would be. And
I don't think we've really explored it yet. I mean, again, the professor, to my knowledge, is the first person who's playing with this on comic books, and he's very early days. So
you mentioned conservation work with artwork that they're doing with this right now, but what about in book repair? Anything about that?
They're doing also book repair with
okay.
it.
Interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'm waiting to hear from Robin Canham, and I'm gonna talk with her some more.
Yeah, because they have to have if they're doing it in book repair, then they would have to have a way to source it so that they can not over, in smaller batches, I'd imagine at someplace.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think this Cellulose Lab does sell it in small batches, and that's I think what you want. You want to go to Cellulose Lab. If you go to University of Maine Cellulose Lab, They only have it in large batches.
I just watched a video on Baumgarten Restorations where he explored Talus, the Talus conservation, and they mentioned that if you call them, they will stock up on certain materials if they deem that there's a demand for it. So that may be a future pathway.
Don, this is a great question. We know that some conservators like to basically do a methylcellulose film over art before conservation, before beginning work. I'm guessing this would work very well in that regard, but early days, who knows? I think you should try it.
It doesn't have the same consistency as methylcellulose.
Right.
It's not like
it's gonna be different.
More granular.
Provide a different sheen, no doubt. But it might be something that could be buffed to then look natural afterward. And if
it's more like extra fine furnish fiber you're adding, right? That's how it looks like to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't look like methylcellulose, like a smooth paste, right? It looks smooth here, but actually when you dilute it in water, it's more granular. You see this? See how granular it is? It's lumpy. See that? It's like a piece of paper I have in my finger now.
Yeah.
That's how it looks. So I don't know if it's going to work in.
So another possible use scenario then, when you guys were talking about adding it to a leaf cast, perhaps you would use less pulp then when you're doing a leaf cast, so that you have the same strength as a leaf.
I use the same amount of pulp as I'm used to, say 1% or 2%, whatever it is, and I would use very, very little of this stuff. Like instead of using the 0.2% they recommend for making these dishes, I would use 0.02%.
Okay.
Even far less amount than that, right?
Yeah.
0.7 grams, 0.8 grams to your 200, right?
Just rather than thinking of it as having less pulp in your furnish or less pulp that you cast, I would think, Jason, it's more, there are very few people that are actually measuring out the volume and doing like what the professor has documented very well on his channel. I'm one of the proponents of that. I don't want thick cast when I'm done. So I'm miking it, and I'm making sure that if the page was 1/10 of a millimeter thick when I started, when I'm done leaf casting, it's still 1/10 of a millimeter thick. That is difficult to do, very difficult. Yeah. And what I'm thinking is the addition of nanocellulose fibers is going to make that easier, because it's going to strengthen that thin cast. So rather than thinking about using, less pulp in my furnish, what I'm thinking is you're using less total furnish, and you're getting closer to that ideal volume that provides the same thickness of paper as you started with.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So the idea is
it's time to throw some money at the show. Look at that. Thank you so much. And
thank you.
Not to be outdone, John R. Bingham says, "You want to throw some money? Let's throw some money." Thank you so much. Love the support. As I mentioned before, it's great to offset the cost of some of the software and everything else that we pay for to put the show on. So we really appreciate it.
Right. And this, by the way, is now foldable. You could actually fold it, not worrying about anything. You see that? Not worry about splitting or anything, right?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So would you say it has a little bit more flex than Tengujo then?
Oh, definitely, yes.
Okay.
I think it's much better foldability. It's 9 micrometers in thickness, so it's not gonna add the volume that Tengujo adds, right? If you're doing every single page with Tengujo, say the spine area, you're gonna add volume to it, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be thick. This stuff is like nothing.
Yeah.
You're adding nothing.
It really is.
You know, Captain Larry's working on a book right now where he had he didn't want to initially, but he had to leaf cast every page because the spine was completely split. And the reason why he didn't want to go the Tengujo route was because he just felt like there wasn't enough strength there, and the foldability wasn't going to work. But I wonder with a process like this, if you could, in some cases, bypass leaf casting altogether and just use this as an alternative.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, definitely. I would imagine if you could use the nanofilms on both sides, it's not going to add much again, and that will be giving you a very
especially with
stable
clean splits, so you don't have to
clean
worry about
splits.
filling
Yeah.
things in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So I would use it on both sides. It's not going to show either way.
Right.
And this is an example of stabilizing frayed edges, right? So if you have frayed edges on a comic book, you could just put it like put a piece of tape on it just to keep it stable there, so these pieces don't fall off over time, right? And you could trim it off. I trimmed it off eventually, but not in the picture, right? So this is no, I didn't trim it off. It's still there. Yeah. I still.
So you're applying this film with like wheat paste or with
I do. I do nori and
nori.
So,
okay,
yeah,
but could you use
this and then you put this on top?
Could you pipette
So
the
the
liquid?
adhesive.
Could you pipette the liquid cellulose right on top of it and use that instead of nori?
You can, but as Dr. Paul said, when you pipette it, it's going to be of different concentration. It's going to be like more like water you're adding here. Right?
Okay.
It's going to be difficult to gauge how much, but if you make it according to a formula and do it carefully, it'll fill in the gaps. Actually, it'll give you the strength that you want. Yes. And but here it's just the tape, and you can't see the tape. You can see the edge of it sticking out, but you can't see the tape on the comic book itself, right?
Right.
On the edge. And this was actually leaf casted with nanocellulose.
Oh.
And after I leaf casted it, I got a few rips and I fixed them with tape, with the nano paper, right?
Wow.
So you can see here I got a rip at the bottom. I fixed it, and you can't see it here from the back too well, right?
Okay.
No, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, this is another proper comic book, Jason.
Yeah. Who knew? He's got a few.
Yeah, these are practice comic books, so you don't know how things will turn out with practice books, so you use cheap ones, that's the point. Yeah, I bought like $20 worth of DC Comics Silver Age, and I wanted to practice on them, and
Nice.
this is one of them. Yeah. Next slide is the final slide, and this is an example of adding pulp to leaf casting. If you adding
nanocellulose to
nanocellulose to
your
leaf casting. So if you do a lot of it, the 6.67 grams, say, to 100 mils, that's going to be very stiff at the end, pulp recipe.
Okay.
And I have tried it. That's why I'm saying don't do it.
Okay.
Right? So it's bad if you use too much of it. It's good if you use a little bit of it, like I did on this book, right?
Yeah.
And
this is so exciting.
Yeah,
So many questions now in front of us. So many opportunities here for figuring things out. A couple of questions. I think the answer is we just don't know yet, but Justin Hinsey says, what is the comparison as far as grams per square meter? So, for example, those of you maybe that use Tengujo at the 5 grams per square meter, which is what I typically use. I don't know. I mean, I imagine you could measure it, Professor, because you have these discs, and you could.
This is very light stuff. This is like doesn't weigh anything. This weighs. I tell you what this weighs exactly. This weighs exactly 0.2 times. I added 25 mils. So 0.2 times 25 is what? In milligrams.
0.2 times 25. Well, 0.1 would be 2.5. So 0.2 would be 5.
So you're talking about like 5 milligrams or something.
5 milligrams, yeah. So that's going to be lighter than Tengujo, but But
what have you done to remove?
Per square meter, it'll be heavier, right? Because square meter would be like this by this, right? That's a square meter.
But a square meter, I mean, that's 1,000 times the mass, because 5 grams as opposed to 5 milligrams, and I think that's more than 1,000 1,000th of a square millimeter so it's actually lighter than the 5 GSM because 1,000th of a square meter is only a square centimeter. If I'm doing that math off the top of my head correctly.
Yeah, no, this stuff is lighter for sure. Yeah.
Lighter, right? Yeah.
But I don't know what the grammage is. Right?
Also, could you fill the spots that need casting and allow it to dry in place? And I think we touched on this. It's probably just as a furnish alone, not going to be sufficient to fill voids. Okay. Probably will be very good for lap tears, but filling voids is still going to be best. If you could use it as a tape, but then you're still going to have the presence of the void, even though it'll be stabilized. It's not going to quite work as a furnish by itself. So it's going to be best to add it to a regular pulp furnish.
Yeah, I would add it as a supportive fiber to your furnish.
Yeah.
To remove it.
Frankly, a lot of people don't use good fiber for their furnish. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you use good fiber, you probably don't need it, right? But if you don't use good fiber, then I would say add it.
But good fiber is also more difficult to work with and has its own issues.
But that's why we have Formation 8. Right?
Well,
that's why we can process it. I use your hydropulper, Dr. Paul, all the time. And it's beautiful, right? I get beautiful results with it. There's no need to do stuff like that because if I can do it, you can do it. Yeah. If Michael, can do it, anybody can do anything.
Welcome to the show. This is two great nights of conservation information. We appreciate you.
Now, to remove the film, okay, maybe not the film, but yeah, it's just using water as you normally would with a brush or something like that.
Yeah.
As far as the feather, would it be possible to feather it once it's on the paper by using a wet brush at the edges, perhaps, to you can pull away some of it, or does it come off as a piece?
You can pull away some. It's pretty strong paper, right? So feathering it is not like feathering regular paper. It's more like looks like more like plastic, right?
Okay.
If I try to feather this, how do you feather this?
Yeah, but could you what happens if you applied water to the edges of that? Well, would it just not do anything?
Yeah, it'll weaken, right? And then you can feather it that way. Yeah,
but it won't necessarily.
But it's a lot of work.
What I'm trying to say is would you be able to I guess almost dissolve it into the paper, or not dissolve it, but hide it somehow? But maybe I guess not. I'd have to actually look at it, I suppose. But
yeah,
all right.
You really when you see it in person, try it out in person. You have different ideas.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Maybe
paper is different, right?
Yeah, it's conceptual to me right now. So,
conceptually,
maybe you cut it with some of those zigzag scissors, and just that edge is enough to kind of blend it a little better, perhaps.
You need a sharp razor blade to cut through this, right? This stuff they use in cement.
Oh, really?
I mean, this is how strong this is. Supplement cement.
Wow.
And steel.
Oh, wow.
This stuff is stronger than steel when it's done in proper amount. That's how strong this stuff is, right?
Wow.
And this little thing that I can't even, with good amount of pressure, to tear it. I've been trying to do it for a while now, right? Sometimes when you go like this, like if you have a little area like this, you'd be able to tear it.
Right.
See that?
Yeah.
So you could tear it that way, but this way is difficult to tear, right? So that part is very resistant, this part here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure physics majors can explain that to me. It's easier to do it this way. But, I use fresh razor blades, a ruler, and you cut them up, and you have those strips, and you can use them.
No.
All right.
Well, very, very exciting. I think we should wrap up here. We're going an hour and 45 minutes almost, and I think everybody's brain is probably speeding right now, thinking about all the possibilities and
absolutely
getting excited to get their hands on some material and start experimenting. So again, I want to thank you, Professor, for your pioneering work in bringing conservation technologies to comic books and sharing it with us and with the community always freely. And
what an exciting time to get into the hobby, I mean, all this new stuff coming up, and great time to be in the hobby.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, and you know, you've been reading, Jason, about fungi and how
Yeah.
to, right? And you've seen the research there. There isn't
Yeah.
much you can do, right? And you did such
Yeah.
a fantastic job on this book.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Really, I was
Appreciate
very
it.
happy for you. Much of what you've done
Yeah.
is we did at Salem State University. We had 2 symposiums already
Yeah.
where we presented our work on fungi removing fungal staining from paper.
Okay.
And the second round, right, is very similar to what you did,
That's
using
awesome.
the betaine and papain, some other enzymes we used alongside that. And then, but the last step was, of course, we resorted to using hydrogen peroxide and lead to
Wow.
mask those remaining fungi.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see what results.
So very well done.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Doug Dix, welcome to the show. Thank you for the kind words. While we're giving thanks, let's thanks again to this show's sponsors: Collecting Chaos, You Plucked My Last Comic, Gorilla Monkey 3K, Salesboy Comics, Don Carter. Appreciate you all so much. Go check them out. Give them a high five. Check out their channels and follow them. While we're at it, thanks everybody in the live chat. Thank you for leaving us comments on the actual video once it is on demand, and for giving us a thumbs up. We're like 10 subscribers away from 7K. So if you want to jump on there, I almost locked it at 6,900, and I thought that's enough followers, and it's a cool round number, but alas, the channel continues to grow. Thank you to next week's sponsors, our generous super chatters: Salesboy Comics, Don Carter, You Plucked My Last Comic, Gorilla Monkey 3K, Collecting Chaos, and John R. Bingham of Lucan. Thank you all so much. We appreciate all of you being here. We appreciate you, Jason, and you, Professor. And I will wrap this by saying, as I normally do, until next time, take care of one another.
Good night.